Hello and welcome back to Ushanka Show. So today we're going to continue our journey into exploring Soviet foods, food that was popular in the Soviet Union, and one of them was these tomatoes. Sometimes they called conservated tomatoes, conservirovanные, or sometimes marinated. I think it's more like marinated tomatoes. And it was a popular staple, of course, in the winter. I think one of the problem with the groceries in the Soviet Union, we lacked fresh, like fruits and vegetables in the winter. You couldn't find fresh cucumbers or fresh tomatoes or fresh onions. Pretty much, if you go into the grocery store, well, we had a specific stores called fruits and vegetables, овощи and frukty, and in the winter there maybe be beets, there'll be yellow onions, and then potatoes, just those items that store well in the winter, but was no fresh tomatoes when it's not in season, no fresh cucumbers. So I think we had a pretty severe cases of avitaminosis, so like lack of vitamins in the wintertime. And a lot of people actually grew onions. They'll have a yellow onion and they put it in a small glass jar filled with a little bit with water, and then the onion starts growing and we use that green onion tips to add to our salads. Of course, we also had like cabbage, because cabbage also stores pretty well through the winter. So I'm showing you here those conservirованные tomatoes I bought, and I like them a lot. No one of my family wanted to try them. This is how they look if you cut them. It's a great snack. It goes well instead of salad. People use it, especially if you drink vodka. It's a good snack. This one came in a standard. Let's see, So they see when they make them. So they probably fill the jar with the hot liquid, which is usually vinegar, spices, and then they probably dump tomatoes first to fill the jar full of tomatoes. Then they pour hot vinegar and it makes tomatoes crack, so it's apparently not a big deal. That's how they're being sold, and then they get processed, canned, and I purchased it in a big it's actually a classic jar that was popular in the Soviet Union. It's the 3 liter. This one actually, it's in Ukrainian, brand is Kryat, and it's a Kherson-style tomatoes. Of course, everyone, because of that horrible war, knows the name of the town, Kherson. But the whole Kherson region is famous for its tomatoes and watermelons. So Khersonskie помидоры, so in Ukrainian, помидоры say tomat. They consider the best tomatoes you can get in Ukraine from Kherson region. And this is a Kherson-style marinated tomato. So you see also have spices, they got garlic, the onions being added, dill, and it comes in this 3 liter jar. And that was pretty much everything was sold in 3 liter jars, like pickled cucumbers, pickled tomatoes. The only difference, this has a modern lid. We had a single-use lid. Usually if you open that lid, then you need to put some plastic temporary lid, but otherwise they were single-use lids. And this is a product of Ukraine. And that was a bizarre shopping experience because I bought a bunch of the foods off the back of the unmarked van, and it had food from Russia, it had food from occupied Crimea, sprouts and tomato paste, which I'm gonna show them you guys yet. And like this is product from Ukraine. Of course, according to the American law, if you brought any groceries from overseas, it requires to have a English language label. So it's a Kherson-style tomatoes, but they're not made in Kherson. They're actually made in the Kyiv region in Belaya Tserkav, White Church. And they were manufactured last year in 2021. So it's a long journey. I like them. I tried. I actually have to. I found them a little bit too mild, so I added more vinegar and I added more salt, and also I had some extra dill, so I dumped a bunch of dill, so it made them had more flavor. As I said, nobody in my family like them, but I'll keep them for the New Year celebration. Looks like this year I'll be home. So they'll be a good snack. And of course, you can make them look pretty on the table. I just kind of show you how the liquid looks. And I drink that liquid too, just like some people drink pickled juice from cucumbers. This is similar thing. It just has a little different flavor. Tomato itself doesn't have a lot of flavor. You can't really taste the tomato, but I like the flavor. It's once again another taste of my childhood. Some people pickled even watermelons. My family never done that, but I remember a friend of mine when you walk into his apartment in the winter, right in the hallway, because apartment was not big enough, and they had to keep those jars indoors because on the balcony they would freeze. So right in the hallway there were jars lined up, and they had pickled watermelons. I found it strange. I think I tried them. I didn't like it. Kind of the whole idea of salty watermelon just didn't click. But anyways, this was another popular food item in the Soviet Union. Like, we ate a lot of pickled goods. People pickle a lot of them because that was the only way to preserve. If you have a lot of tomatoes, and people would pickle tomatoes, whole tomatoes. We didn't have, like, people were making really like a tomato sauce like here in America people do. We didn't do that, but that was a good stuff to eat. If it's done right, it's pretty delicious. I like it now more on the spicy side. So if you guys interested to try it, I would suggest those. They should be available in any Eastern European grocery stores. Now they go fancy. They will put together combination of cucumbers and pickled cucumbers, pickled tomatoes, pickled sweet peppers, so that it looks pretty. We never had that during the Soviet days. There was just these big jars of pickled tomatoes for sale. Well, thank you so much for watching Ushanka Show. Don't forget to like this video, and we'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye.